Hey everybody, welcome back to another Diecast video. Today we're doing a little bit of a different type of review, and that is we're going to take a look at different generations of NASCAR diecast with the release of the all-new Elite Premier diecast. I realize I've never really done a full walkthrough of all the different diecasts and days and how they've aged and things like that. But don't worry, we're not going to start with the Cup Series today. Today we're actually going to start with the Truck Series. So we're going to look at every Truck Series diecast that I know of that's been made up to this point in terms of body types. Not every single truck, but we're just going to talk about kind of what they look like and what the features on them are. So we're going to start actually with our oldest one, kinda. This is actually two different manufacturers. The first manufacturer, this one here is, I think it was Checkered Flag Sports or something. Gotta remember what the name on it is. It was CFS. So yeah, it was CFS was the name of the company. They actually made some Cup Series cars as well, but they made a lot of trucks, and especially this era. This was 2010. They made a lot of trucks from about 2008-9 all the way through 2014-15-ish, and then after that, Lionel came back and redid their tooling and kind of took over the whole thing. So this is the 2010 Bristol Sweep car for Kyle Busch, but this was made by CFS because Lionel at that point wasn't making trucks. So you can see we do have a chrome grille insert there. We also have the kick down nose, so it kind of has the idea of a splitter without actually having the splitter. This does have an opening hood, so one of the features that our current trucks don't have that this did was an opening hood. There you can see the engine detail. We do have TRD in there and a radiator, but it is pretty basic, nothing too crazy. I can't remember, does this have front springs or no? I don't think it does. Yeah, it has a little wiggle room, but that's just the whole chassis wiggle. There's no actual springs in it. So that's our engine detail there. Moving around here, one of my favorite things about these trucks has always been not the plastic window net, but they do have a plastic window net instead of rubber. But if you look inside let's go to the right side window. Inside the right side window, the seat shape on this one is much bigger. The headrests are thicker, and so the headrests on the Lionel cars and trucks have always been real skinny, like just, plastic thin, where these have always been wider. They've always had a wider, I can't even try to show you where it's at here, but they've always had a wider headrest. So the seat has always been something that I've noticed and kind of liked. Underneath here you can see there's obviously the engine detail because there's an engine, drive shaft, and then it's just kind of plain in plastic. It is a plastic base underneath this truck. Go to the back of the truck, you can see we do have the two rear posts here. There is no clear wing underneath it, so they did add those later, I guess. But at that point, they had no plastic clear piece that went under there. And let's see, anything else? We do have the Goodyear tires. I always did notice the tires, in my opinion, looked pretty good. Obviously, there's no paint on the rims, so that is something you'll notice. There's no paint on the rim. It's just completely black and plastic, but the way that the truck was shaped, I always thought this truck had very good shape. I thought it really did look pretty solid as far as the shape of the truck. It does have a windshield banner, those types of details are in there, so I always thought these were really good. I still want to get a couple of these for the Dodge types to get some Casey Kane customs made, because I really do like the shape and style of these, because I just think they look the best and function the best. The next one I'm actually going to show you is from the same era, but made by Action, and this is Chase Elliott's first win, but this one also has a opening hood, and you get that hood open, you do get much better engine detail in this one. So this is why they got a little more popular, because they do have better engine detail. You can see that in there. You've got the radiator, we got the valve covers. Now there's no TRD, or in this case Chevy, but they do have the red engine block. You've just got a little bit more detail. You do actually have a functioning front suspension, so it does kind of move up and down. Camping World windshield banner, we do have that. We do also have the two posts. Actually, they do decal the posts. You see Chevy across the rear post there. There we go, right there. You see the rims also are painted. You can see the lug nuts and the centerpiece are painted silver, then some stickers and stuff like that. Go underneath, it is a black chassis here, and you can see we do have the engine, the drive shaft, and a little bit of detail on the rear suspension for the ones out of Action. Or I think it's Lionel at that point. I think they were Lionel. So either way, they're the same company. They all merged and stuff. So yeah, same era. These trucks are from the same era. Now, you'll notice this one here is a little skinnier, rides a little higher. I don't know, I thought this one looked and functioned and kind of fit better than this one. I think it was just something with the tires and the size of the truck, the way that this kind of would sit versus how this one would sit. I always thought this one looked better from the distance, but this one does have a rubber window net. It's got a little bit better cab detail, so if you look in the right side window here, You can see we've got some gauges that are painted, and there's a little fire extinguisher in the back. So there's a little bit more cab detail. This one definitely has more detail. It's a heavier car. Or a heavier truck, but just overall, the biggest thing about this truck was they were still the normal price of a diecast, so they were pretty expensive, and a lot of trucks had a lot of trouble getting made because it's tough to find a truck win popular enough to hit that high MOQ or whatever the minimums they had back at that time. So, like I said, I really like these, but they were both really good. Honestly, they were both good, but they came at the cost of we didn't get near as many trucks made. And so that is where Lionel eventually would step in and say, you know what, we're not making a lot of trucks, but we really want to. So they decided to cheapen up the truck. They made it a little bit less quality, but it was a significant amount less money at the time. We went from like a $70 diecast to a 40, I think it was 45, 49 maybe. It was less than $50, and I'll show you the truck here. The first truck actually released on the new tooling was the 2016 Kyle Larson Eldora win. And so this one you'll see there's no opening hood. It is one solid shell all the way around. Now, this type of shell had been run since I want to say 2013 or 14, and they hadn't updated the tooling. So there's actually a 2015 Casey Kane win that the front bumper should look like this, and instead it actually looks like this. Because it was made on the old tooling back in 2015. So that's a perfect example of, you know, wanting to have it done correctly where you get it with the right tooling actually looks really good. So plastic window net is a piece you have there. Obviously, the rims are not typically painted. Race wins, they do add the detail to, but if it's not a race win, they won't add that detail. It'll just be plain. We go underneath, all plastic, just some tailpipes and all plastic. So less detail because there is no hood. But remember, this is a cheaper car. We do have the decaling on the post there. What else did we have with this one? Obviously, this one has dirt tires. That's not, you know, that's not normal for it to have the dirt tires and stuff. But really, this one was a much cheaper alternative because the shape of the truck, for the most part, was just one solid shell, which allowed a lot of trucks to get made. We have had a lot more truck series race win diecasts, or just truck series diecasts in general, since they went and changed the tooling. So it was probably a good call because, like I said, now we do get a lot more trucks. Obviously, unfortunately, we lost that at the price of quality. So the last one I'm going to show you, this is an all-new one. This is one from last year, slightly updated. So they've got, obviously, different types of shapes for the Chevy nose and Toyota. They all have new shapes. Okay, they've updated the mold to fit the new types of truck, you know, bumpers and stuff. But what I'm trying to show on this one is a couple of new or updates that they did between 2016 and 2023. So if you look at the rear window here, let's go to a double zoom. The Larson banner is on a black piece on the tip of the window. This Eckes one is actually just on the clear piece of the window. That is, there you go. Now you can see it. See how Eckes is just on the window. There's no black piece, no black border behind it. This one, it's on a black border. So that is something that got changed. I don't know what year exactly they changed that, but that is a piece or an element of one of those things that that got changed. Other than that, though, really not a lot of changes. Obviously, this one, again, race win, so it has the stuff painted, but otherwise it wouldn't be. But realistically, that's it. You know, let me back out here. 2016, 2023, that's not a lot of change. You know, obviously they update the windshield banners and they update some of the other stuff like that. But for the most part, they really haven't changed a crazy amount, and it's worked. I mean, this is a regular old Atlanta win, and they were able to get it made. So, you know, it's not even a Cup Series type guy. You know, it's not a super popular Kyle Larson type guy, and they were able to get that made because the fact is, by going to the lower minimum, a lot more trucks were able to get made. So we did unfortunately lose, obviously, like I said, the quality of these metal diecasts, where they had the metal chassis and the better tires and the better rims and the posable wheels. I forgot to mention that. These do not have posable wheels at all or a suspension. They're just solid. These, like I did show earlier, but they do have posable wheels. They can turn, and they have a suspension. This one, like I said, does have posable wheels, but it doesn't have a suspension. It has a little flex because it's plastic. So yeah, that's the three different, or not even three different, that's just the different types of diecast that they kind of have made for the truck series over the last chunk of years. Honestly, my favorite is probably these because they are so accurate in shape. The cost has been pretty good, and realistically, I don't do a ton when it comes to the the detail. I mean, I'm a sucker for good detail, but I don't know. If I had my choice, if I could just pick one out of the litter to bring back, it would be this one here. Not that this one was any bad, but I just thought this one was a better shape. Because you can see it here if you look at it from the side. This is a significantly skinnier truck than these three. These three have kind of the same thickness. This one was significantly skinnier. It looked skinnier. Let's see if we put it side by side. Oh yeah, look at that. That's the difference in the skinniness. So I think that was the reason I always thought that one wasn't quite as good, was just different thicknesses when it came to how skinny it was. So, but anyway, that's, as far as I know, the different truck options that were offered, at least for the last 10 or so years since I've kind of been collecting. So I just wanted to kind of explain the details and some of those things like that. I'm going to do the same thing with Xfinity and Cup cars coming forward. So stay tuned for those videos, because those are going to be, the Cup ones especially, going to be much more detailed. But we'll have some Xfinity ones as well to go through, just to show you all the different variations that have been offered throughout, the course of history. So anyway, guys, that'll pretty much wrap up this review. Thank you all for watching. This has been Race Craze. We'll see you in the next one.